All right, so excited for my hunt. All right, got my rifle, day pack. This whole mule thing is gonna be interesting. Got my fly rod, never know. Might have to burn some time on the stream between elk hunting. Let's see, got my sleeping bag and let's see, what else do I need? Well, might need to practice my drive. Wonder what those guys are gonna think about that. I don't know on the samurai sword. Yeah, might need it. Self-defense up there. All right, well, how am I gonna charge my iPhone and laptop? Oh, I got my charger. That'll be a good one. Gotta practice shooting my bow. Oh, shit. All right, what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Timon, come here, bud. We're just gonna put you on a mule. Come on, Timon. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh, come on, Timon. Oh. I'm ready.
Fella, we're going to camp with a pack train, not a freight train.
Well, we've got a few things we might not be taking along.
What about my cooler? What's wrong with it? I'm gonna kill one hell of a big elk. I gotta have a big cooler.
Your cooler's gotta fit in this bag. Too big.
How about my rod?
It's too long.
How about my target, Sam? Can we pack that just on the top just on the top of the mule? Guess not. Hi guys, the purpose of this video is to go over how we pack for our wilderness hunting trips. You know, one of the things that's really hard to explain to clients without showing them is how we pack gear. And so that's the purpose of this video. And just right off the bat, the biggest thing to remember is this is how we pack our gear in canvas panniers. So everything about our size limitations, weight limitations, and how we pack things are going to be based on this. And these go on mules, one on each side. So when your overarching theories you need to think about when packing are soft bags. Soft bags like this that we can work with. They help us pack and they help us get the weight even on each side. And another thing you need to think about is keeping things small. This is the type of fishing rod you want to bring. You can't bring long 6-foot poles that don't telescope into smaller packages because there's just no way for us to safely pack them on an animal. The other big concept is top packs. We try to keep them minimal, but one of the things that we will pack on the top is your bedroll and sleeping bag. This is kind of the maximum size you're going to want for that type of gear, and that's going to go on the top of the mule. All right, but we can't pack hugely bulky items on the top. No canoes and you know, golf clubs and samurai swords. None of that stuff on the top of the animal. We need to keep it nice and tidy and soft and manageable. Something we can suck down on the top of the animal and keep everybody safe, including the mules and pack stock. All right guys, so coolers is another big one when you're packing your food. The thing you got to think about is the dimensions and then also weight. We'll first talk about the dimensions, and that's that these got to fit down into those canvas panniers. And basically what you're looking at is the length that Sam just measured here. The maximum is going to be 26 inches. So the maximum from the top to bottom is going to be 16 inches. And then your depth is going to be around 14 inches. Anything bigger than that isn't going to fit in these panniers, so you need to keep that in mind. And when you're packing coolers, particularly for a group, if you guys can show up with 2 coolers that weigh an equal amount, that's the best deal, because then we can pack one on each side of the same mule. And this is how, just for demonstration, they slip down into the panniers. And depending on the weight of the cooler, we can pack some soft stuff usually on top. And these coolers really need to stay below 55 to 60 pounds. That's the true maximum in each cooler. All right, so the next thing we're going to go over is when you're actually riding out of here to hunting camp, we're going to provide some small saddle bags on your riding saddle. These bags are not meant to be full of everything. You don't need to have, 30 pounds of gear in them, and we're not going to allow you to do that. It's hard on the horses, and it's also going to create a weight imbalance on your ride. So the key thing is we're going to try to split minimal amount of weight in here. And the key things that we like to see people bring is water's a good one to have, always there where you can get it. If it's a ride that's going to go over lunch, a lunch can go in here, and snacks, but a small one. We don't want to have like a trucker's lunch box that's this big. And then another good one is a camera, so it's accessible. We see any wildlife, or there's for sure going to be some great views to take pictures of on your ride, so keep that handy. And the other key one is rain gear. This is standard long slicker, but any rain gear, is probably going to be your hunting rain gear. We want that to be accessible. If it's the sunniest day you've experienced in Colorado, you're still going to want your rain gear because it can change really rapidly here. And the rain dance around here is to not put your rain gear on the saddle. If you do that, it's for sure going to rain. So we want to make sure that those 3 to 4 things are what you have in here. Other than that, we're going to keep it really minimal. And here's an example. These bags are small, and they're going to force you to keep minimal amount of stuff in here. But sometimes we provide larger saddle bags, and you can see these are full of a bunch of crap. You don't need all this crap. All it's going to do is create an issue for you riding up there. You're gonna eat your lunch. Your big fat lunch is going to be gone, and then all of a sudden your saddle is going to be going this way. So you want to keep everything minimized and tight, and that way it's safer. All right, so I get a lot of questions about how we pack rifles, bows, and this is what you're going to see. So this is our standard scabbard, and it will carry a rifle with a larger scope, so that's not a problem. But just keep in mind that we're not going to pack your gun in a full-length scabbard with a lot of padding, because again, it's going to create more pain for you as you're riding, and it's just too much. These perfectly protect your gun, so don't worry about that. And this is what we use as a standard scabbard. So one key thing to think about it is we can accommodate larger scopes, but smaller is better. And there's not, up here there's no reason to have a crazy huge sniper scope on your gun. Most of your shots are going to be between 100 and 300 yards. And the other thing to keep in mind, that if you got a bipod on your gun, it's got to come off. It won't go in these scabbards. So either take it off and pack it in your gear so we don't have to worry about it, or have the expectation that it's going to come off when we put your gun on your riding saddle. When we're packing bows, the way we do it typically is hard cases are okay. If within your group you can match your hard cases in terms of their height and their size, particularly if they're the exact same case, that's the best, because we can pack them equally one side and one side of the mule, and that's going to protect your bow the best. The alternative to that is that you're going to have to ride with the bow across your shoulder on a sling, and so you need to bring a sling for your bow. I can tell you right now, that's not the comfortable way to do it. So if you can match with your buddies in your group to have matching hard cases, that's the best situation. All right, so just on fishing poles, the acceptable kind are these small ones that pack like this. This is good, and then if you're more of a spinning reel type of guy, these little mini spins are okay. All those will work, and they'll pack nice in our gear. And then just as reference, here again, these won't work, guys, so just keep that in mind. They're just too long for us to pack. All right, guys, so we're going to go over actually packing some gear so you see the whole process. So we're going to put another cooler in this pannier. Just as a side note, when you're packing your food in here, pack your heavy food at the bottom of the cooler, and then your lighter stuff as you go up higher, your eggs and bread at the top. And that's just going to keep stuff from getting crushed, and also helps us with keeping the weight close to the mule. All right. So in this case, we've packed 2 coolers. If we only had 1 cooler, or we were just packing gear, we would just pack your gear straight into the pannier. But in this case, we got our coolers in, now we're going to go ahead and show you how we're going to pack additional gear on here. And that's pretty much the maximum amount of gear in terms of bulk we're going to be able to fit in here. As we're adjusting weight back and forth, what comes up is that we'll be off a couple pounds on each side, so you'll see us move small items either across the different panniers, or we'll use small items like a water bottle to even out weight. Something that's easy and we can pack in there without doing any damage to the gear. Okay, so at this point, guys, I just want to mention one thing. When we're doing this packing and you see us moving around the animals, you need to make sure and keep your distance, particularly the rear end of all the pack stock and the riding stock. That's the dangerous part of the animal, and you'll see us moving around. That's because we know the animals and we know when and when not to do it, and we make sure they know we're there. But when you're here walking around, you really need to be conscientious about that.
And this is how we pack a mule. We'll bring our panniers up here. These have been weighed. Each one weighs the same. The saddle's been tightened properly. We walk the mule around a little bit, tighten it again, make sure nothing's going to fall off on the trail that way.
One on the front, one on the back.
I'll hold the weight while the guy on the other side brings it up so the saddle does not get off balance while we're packing. We always hook the front of the pannier first. Alright, next comes top pack. We need to get it in the center across. Sometimes I look in front or behind, make sure everything is centered properly. We cover the pack with a pack cover to keep the rain and the snow off. Also, it holds things together.
Oh, about a third down.
We try to get it even on both sides. That looks pretty good. Lash rope, lash it down with.
Cinch.
We want this rope in the center at the top, in the center, all the way down on the pannier. I'm going to throw the cinch. The last cinch has a hook for the rope. I'll throw it under, and Cliff will hook the rope. He'll get everything in the center on his side. He'll get the last cinch in the center on the bottom. He'll pull it tight, and then he'll hold it tight. He'll throw the excess rope to me, where I'll make the hitch. A Bosco hitch is what we use a lot. We have a lot of different hitches, but this is the most common.
Rope.
Get your hitch up high. Bring it straight down. Tuck it under your pannier. Keep the tail in the middle. Come right on around with your hitch up under your pannier corners. All the way back to the top again. Pull up the slack, and then we tighten it like that. Take the tail, pull all the slack. When I pull this, this will pull the bottom of the pack up and off of the mule's shoulders. Like that. I throw the rope, the excess rope, to the other side, and Clip will do the same thing on the other side and tie it off. Rope.
So now I'm going to go ahead and finish this end of the hitch. The same thing that Sam did on that side. But we're going to go around the pannier. And just as Sam said, one of the key elements of this, of the Bosco, is you can pick that pannier up a little bit. And at this point, usually what we'll do is we'll actually have someone sit back, make sure we're not off-centering by pulling it up too much. But usually if you just get it snug, it's going to be pretty even. And then how I finish it is with what we call a packer's knot. Up over this one. Then over the other side. Snug it up. And then a half hitch over that. And then if you got a long tail,